Sports Card Nation, the hobby is the people. Weekly news and interviews, it's your number one source. Sports Card Nation, the hobby is the people. Sports Card Nation.
Welcome to another stocked and loaded episode of the Sports Card Nation podcast, the show that brings you all the important hobby news, discussions, debates, opinions, info, and interviews with key hobby and sports dignitaries. Also, if you're good, you know we are going to give away something. Now, here's the guy that wanted the cards more than the gum. John Newman.
What is up, everybody? Episode 137, Sports Card Nation. Happy to be back. And what I've been saying recently, one step closer, 1 week closer to the Super Bowl, the hobby, the National. I want to remind everybody, I think I mentioned this already, Thursday, National Week. That is July 29th from 4 p.m. Central Time to 4:30. Myself and Brody on the main stage at the National. Brody the kid, that is. Going to be chopping up some hobby stuff and chit-chatting with him as he returns from being a little bit under the weather. But we're going to catch up, make up for some missing time, and might be one other surprise at the end of that half an hour that it's going to be fun for somebody, and I'm going to enjoy making it happen. I'll just leave it at that. Little tease, as they say in radio. Also, pretty cool moment for me. Our new sponsor, Collectible, fractional share company. As you'll hear in the news, What's Up section of this show, buyout of the PSA 10 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle, $3.1 million buyout. Full disclosure, I do own some shares, or I used to own some shares. I no longer own them as the buyout went through with the shareholders' vote. And every time Collectible, does a big buyout, they release an official video announcement to announce that sale. And I was very honored and privileged. They asked me to do the honors on the 53 Topps PSA 10 Mantle, and was excited and more than happy to do it. So I got to do the official video announcement announcing the shareholders' vote and the sale of that mantle at $3.1 million. I'll talk about that in the news section of the show as well. I got a great guest this week, Emily Kless from Topps, communications manager. We're going to talk about how Topps is doing, what's going on there, what's maybe new and coming, some national plans, and amongst other stuff as well. Learn a little bit about her as well, not just Topps, but the hobbies of the people, and we want to learn a little bit more about Emily. It's a great interview. I hope you enjoyed it. I think you will. So we're not going to dawdle any further. Let's get this show going. Our guest announcer for this week's new release product schedule is back this week. I'd like to thank Terry Price, who throws his hat in the ring. Take it away, Mr. Price.
This week's sports card releases brought to you by @SoonerPrices on Twitter. July 23rd, 2021 Sage Aspire Football. 2020-2021 Panini Clearly Donruss Basketball. July 28th, 2021 Topps Complete Baseball Factory Set. 2021 Topps Bungalese Finest Soccer. 2021 Topps UEFA Stadium Club Chrome Soccer. 2020-2021 Panini Select Basketball. 2020-2021 Upper Deck Extended Series Retail Versions. 2020 Leaf Valiant Baseball. 2021 Pro Set Sports. 2021 Historic Autographs. Originals Triple Folders Baseball. 2021 Leaf Greatest Hits Basketball Box. And July 30th, 2021 Panini Select UFC.
Hey everybody, have you heard about Collectible? It's the one-stop shop where any collector can buy and trade affordable shares in some of the most rare and valuable sports cards and memorabilia in the world, starting from just $5. From 1952 Mickey Mantle PSA 10s and Wilt Chamberlain's iconic rookie uniform to one-of-one Patrick Mahomes RPAs, rare LeBron James logo mats, and everything in between, Collectible is creating never-before-seen access and opportunities for investing in the hobby. Just download the app and sign up with the referral code SCN to get your first share free. Please note this is not a recommendation or solicitation to buy any security. All investment decisions should be undertaken after doing your own research.
It's time for the Hobby What's Up, where we go around the hobby world and tell you all the latest news and breaking stories from the hobby we love.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? What's up?
All right, a lot of big news stories this week as we edge closer to the National. Probably lead off with the new PSA takeover. CEO in, Nat Turner, out, Joe Orlando, who announces his resignation. Now, when this acquisition first went down, I don't remember what episode it was, but I did say that I don't think Joe Orlando survives it. And I was beginning to think I was wrong. Like, as the months went by, I'm like, well, maybe he is going to survive it. But here we are. So I kind of called it. I'm not the only one, but Nat Turner, the new CEO of PSA, I think it was really the plan, quite frankly, all along. They might spin it a different way, but I think this was really the game plan to go all along. We'll see, what more and further changes come with Nat. Definitely, pulling the trigger on the decision making. Remember, this is not a publicly traded company anymore, so there's no board of directors to approve or deny anything. All right, next news story, Collectible. Their first ever IPO offering, the 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA 10. There's only two in the world, and it was their initial offering. I own some shares of it personally, full disclosure. And they got a $3 million buyout offer, $500,000 higher than the 2.5 that it was the purchase level, and it went to vote. I cast my vote as well. And while that vote was taking place, another offer of $3.1 million came in, and the vote was approved, I believe, by a 4-1 margin, and so that has sold for $3.1 million, a 19.52% increase over the initial shareholder price. So all shareholders, including myself, will get those, you want to call them dividends or buyout funds in their collectible wallets. And I might add, Collectible, our newest sponsor, welcome to the Sports Card Nation family. They asked me to do the official video release announcing the buyout. And man, that was a big thrill. I got to do that, and to sort of be close to the story, because I did own shares of it as well, was kind of unique, and was a lot of fun doing that. And I'll just say, I wish it took one take, but took more than that. But got it done, and Collectible's doing well, and their first IPO makes some sort of history. So very, very cool moment that I'm happy to say I was a very small part of. All right, STC and Peter Steinberg have announced their plans for the National, and a little bit, or I should say a lot different than what the other grading companies are doing. They are not taking live submissions at the show. they will be there in full form. But they're going to go sort of on like what I will call a thank you tour. They're going to do some free live box breaks. If you've been a customer of SGC anytime in the last year, or you become one by purchasing an SGC graded card at the show, you're going to be entered to get spots in the breaks that they're going to be doing, I believe, almost every day. They're going to be doing some other stuff too, some giveaways. And so sort of just, a thank you for doing business with them, for bearing with them during a crazy year. And I think it's sort of, when I heard the announcement and Peter made it, and I have talked to him prior to recording this, I like where they're going. Rather than see that, $200, $150, $100 submission level, their presence is going to be there, but they're going to give back to those that have been customers of them. And even if you weren't up until the show, it's not too late. You can purchase a card, or even what's cool is you can purchase a card even not at the show, but eBay. Show them that you did it recently, and they'll enter you into a lot of the free drawings. And so I'd rather that than see some crazy submission price. And so kudos to them to not go into DEF CON 4 on the submission prices. And I'll be talking to Peter at the show and look for that sound bite and stuff on a subsequent Sports Card Nation. In more acquisition news, another big one has went down. Entrust Global Group. You may not recognize that. In case you don't, Entrust Global Group is the parent company of Beckett. Well, Entrust has acquired Southern Hobby, a wax and supply distributorship that supplies over 1,000 stores with their wax and supply needs. They're based in Nashville, but they have their corporate headquarters are in Nashville, but they have other locations around the country. And so that's a big deal. As you know already, Beckett's got their Beckett Shield products now with their acquisition of Dragon Shield, or their partnership. So we're seeing a lot of these, mergers, acquisitions, and it's strategic based, and probably a good move on Entrust and the Beckett Group there to get sort of market share in the wax and supply industry. Like I said, they supply over 1,000 stores. In other PSA news, they made another acquisition. As you may have heard before, they have acquired Geniment, but now they have acquired WATA, W-A-T-A, a video game grading company. So PSA is throwing their hat in the video game grading aspect as they expand their range of services they provide, as they expand with the space that they purchased across the street. Shohei Ohtani has inked an exclusive deal with Fanatics for autographed pictures and memorabilia. If you go to the Fanatics site, you can purchase pretty much anything you want. Ohtani signed. Not cheap whatsoever. And right now, Ohtani is the hottest entity in any sport. I think I just read that the number one selling everything right now, just taking the hobby and memorabilia world by storm. A PSA 10 Jordan 86-87 Fleer rookie sold at PWCC for $840K. Traditionally, this is a card a lot of people look to and use sort of as a temperature of where the hobby is and the market is. I think, it went down recently, but a lot of people are pointing to the sale of this card and saying, see, it's, the hobby's rebounding, coming back up. I will just say this. It is a PSA 10, as we all know that, a card like that in PSA 10 is going to bring a lot of money. So I don't think in that condition it's, an indicator that things are on the upswing again. So I think, there's just not that many PSA 10s. And so that iconic card in the PSA 10 is going to bring big money no matter what the market is. So I don't look to that as sort of a pivot point or we're going back the other way. I just think it's an iconic card graded at top level is going to bring top price, and that's it. Topps has released their 2022 design. I will say this, I like it tremendously better than 2021. I have a thing for sort of white bordered cards. It is, and just a lot crisper and cleaner, at least in my opinion, than 2021. Definitely can read the players' names more than last year's, or I should say this year's release. And so 2022 Topps gets 2 thumbs up from me. We got a great conversation coming up with Emily Kless from Topps, and how that all goes down is going to be talked about. And I actually learned a few things. What I kind of thought, how it kind of went, was not what I thought, and I think you'll find that very interesting. So that's coming up very shortly.
Sports Card Nation, it's now time to chop it up with our featured guest on the one-of-one card shop guest line. Let's go!
All right, really excited to have my next guest. She was hard to track down. She's a very busy lady, especially this time of year as we ramp up towards Nationals. Really, when you're hearing this episode, we're literally 3 or 4 days away. So I don't want to make her wait any longer. Welcome, Emily Kless, Topps Communications Manager. Welcome to the show.
Hey, John, I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, the lead up to the National, I feel like there's no better time than for me to be on.
Yeah, it's perfect. And again, I appreciate you making time for the show. I know you're very busy. Some other people think like, you just do appearances and podcasts all day but obviously you do a lot more than that. So I want to start off with you guys just released the 2022 flagship design. I got to be honest with you, I love it. I wasn't huge on the 2021. This is, to me, in my opinion, a lot better. I like it. As soon as I saw it, I retweeted it and expressed my positive opinion. Can you kind of let people listening to the show kind of behind the scenes, like how early is the design team or whoever are they already working on like 2023 design now, or when does that sort of start? How does that whole process work?
No, I'm glad to hear that you like the design. I think a lot of people, from what I've seen, have shared in that sentiment, which is great to see. So we're already excited just for 2022 based off of the design alone. So that's huge. But it's really a year-long process, which is crazy to think about. And the design team, this is one of the products where almost everyone on the design team kind of has a shot at choosing what the flagship design or getting to create the flagship design. So they have a couple rounds of feedback and they narrow it down. And there's one lucky designer whose design gets chosen for the year. And that process is already beginning again for 2023. So definitely really interesting and fun to see the behind the scenes of it all come together. But for me personally, more fun when I know that we're going to drop the announcement on social and there's going to be lots of opinions and reactions. That's kind of the fun part for me, is just to see how it gets digested and see what people say. But I'd say so far so good, which is a good thing.
Yeah, so that's one person. They kind of won out what they came up with, if I heard you right. Is that correct?
Just about. I think from what I understand, there's a few different designers. They all kind of come up with what they would want to see as next year's design, and then goes through a couple of rounds of feedback internally, and they land on a design, and I suppose that designer gets bragging rights for the year.
I was going to ask you if that person, whoever wins out, they kind of get to hold that over their teammates.
I know,
head,
I would.
if you will, it's almost like a title belt. They hold it for the year, and then I got to try to defend it next year unless someone else takes it away. It's clean. I'm sort of a white border kind of guy. Like that sort of does it for me. Last year's, if I had a complaint, I'm an older guy, so my eyesight doesn't get better as I get older. So it was a little hard to read the names. It might be more of an indictment on me than Topps there, but this year's or 2022. It looks a lot, it's bigger font and cleaner, and 2 thumbs up for me for the 2 cents that's worth.
Yeah, no, of course. I think a lot of people share your opinion too. And I think the cool part about 2022's design is it really is a reflection of the feedback from 2021, right? And that's so important. And that's why, in my opinion, social media is important, and why podcasts are important, and why blogs are important. It's all of that feedback that really gets listened to and taken into account, and just improved upon the next year. So no knock to 2021, but we always just try to do it bigger, do it better year over year, and that will always be the goal. So definitely glad to hear that you like 2022. I think I'm excited about it too. I think parallels will look really nice on it, and just some of the other design elements I think will really look nice on that design.
So you come into the Topps. I know you were at Topps even before the role you're now in. You're following someone who's very popular in Sue's. I mean, talk about the dynamic in that. Do you know her very well? How was that transition?
Sure. So I came to Topps, I think about 4 years ago, probably 5 years ago, in the digital division. So I was the community manager for our mobile apps, and it was such a different world, the digital apps. It was really, really interesting. And so I had some overlap with Sue's, but she obviously set a great precedent for what social could be and should be and can be. So don't say I had much overlap with her, but the short conversations we did have towards her end of her career at Topps was nothing short of enjoyable, and I think it's really cool to also follow in a woman's footsteps. Just because, we need women in sports, and we need women's voices to be heard. And so Sue's left a great groundwork for that. And there's lots that, different directions that we'd like to go in, different things that we've been trying to do over the past 2 years to make social just, different from what it was 2 or 3 years ago. But, it's just coming from a new lens now. So all we do is, like I said, try to do it bigger and better every year over year. And so far, I think we've done that on social.
Yep. And you bring up a good point. I want to sort of piggyback off. We're seeing a lot more women in the hobby, which I'll be the first to tell you, it's very important. As someone who's been in the hobby for 30 years, we're seeing, to me, in my opinion, the most that I've seen in 30 years. I think it's important, and in many roles, in executive positions. I went to the Dallas show. A lot more dealers are female, which I think is really cool. I think a lot more collectors in social media, with even podcasts. We have Sam Shuford doing Women in the Hobby, which is awesome. She's been on the show. What do you think is just the normal kind of the hobby being very successful, kind of booming? I mean, do you attribute it to anything else?
Yeah, no, it's great to see the influx of women, and even just I think the platforms now that we're able to give such different voices in the hobby. You're not, just hearing from the same few folks, but there's really a range of people and voices that you're hearing that are creating content and sharing their collections and running podcasts and being on podcasts and everything in between. So it's really important. I've emailed with Sam before. She's awesome. I think that having even a podcast and an Instagram presence, called Women in the Hobby, I think that totally kicks butt. So yeah, there's lots of really cool stuff that you're seeing, but I think the hobby as a whole right now is just, it's hot, right? It's a great place to be. It's a great community to be part of. There's been such an influx of just people flocking to the hobby over the past year and a half now, really. And while this, I don't think was any surprise to us because of this upward trend that we had been seeing for, really the past decade even. I still think that it's just so encouraging to see. And for me personally, knowing that this type of attention around the hobby happened on a year where Topps was celebrating its 70th anniversary, I thought those stars couldn't have aligned much better to be part of an organization that is that old, but is that, so deep rooted in the hobby. I think is just a really, really neat time to be part of Topps, both on, the staffing side, but also a Topps collector right now, because it's a special year.
Yeah. And it's, what I told Sam when she was on too, to see, women doing big things in the hobby, like I said, from the very top of an executive position to just being a collector for young, girls that see it. It gives them the aspiration. Hey, I can do that. I can be that. And I think that's important, in that aspect as well.
100%. You can be what you can see, right? And if we have people that are visible, stepping into those roles, leading those roles, it's important. It just, paves the way for what's to come.
Yeah. All right. I got to ask you a couple kind of questions that kind of go together. Everyone probably thinks, I'm sure you love your job and have a passion for it. What's the toughest part of what you do?
I do love my job for sure. Let's see, the toughest part. That's such a good question, John, because, I think that the toughest part is knowing what we can be, and not yet having the resources to get there. And I'll elaborate a little bit. I think I mean that in a few different ways, such as bringing customer service to our social platforms and having a presence on social. I think we're not up to speed there yet. And that's something that I would hope that would happen in my tenure with Topps. I also mean that in a way of our content team, which we are slowly creating. There's such a hunger out there to watch content, to digest content from all places across the hobby. And we are starting to assemble a bit of a content team that can actually bring some really, high quality produced videos showing, for example, our time at MLB All-Star in Denver, the happenings at the Topps booth, just really bring that to life in a way that people who might not be able to be at the event, might not be able to be at the National, they can still, follow along with the Topps channels and either feel like they're there or feel like they know what's going on and included and just enjoy watching the events unfold on social. So I think that, it takes a really long time to steer a big ship or to turn a big ship, but we're slowly getting there. We're definitely putting in the building blocks right now for what Topps can be in the future. And that's super important. So definitely, the toughest part is having patience for that all to unfold, because Rome wasn't built in a day.
All right, we're going to step aside for a real quick break to hear from one of our great sponsors, 101 Card Shop. But we'll be right back with more from Emily.
What doesn't 101 Card Shop do? From box, case, and personal breaks, there's always fire being pulled. They offer bulk grading subs, and their large store located in Strongsville, Ohio, offers an incredible selection of sports cards, non-sports, and authentic autographed memorabilia. Steve and family will treat you right. Check them out on Instagram at 1of1 Card Shop or on the web at 1of1cardshop.com. Sports Card Nation is back with Emily Kless.
What's the best part of what you do? I know that's probably a long list, but I'll let you answer the question.
Yes, there is so many amazing pieces that goes into my job, which is just I think the best part for me is really getting to talk to the people in the hobby, even just being on a podcast like this with you, and knowing that folks are listening and knowing that we get to just chat about baseball cards for 30 minutes and chat about Topps. It's really all about the connections that you make, I think, in this hobby. We of course know what we pull out of our packs, but it's oftentimes who you're pulling those cards with, who you're breaking with, who you're talking to, who you're sending your pulls to on a daily basis. That's really what makes up the hobby. And so for me personally, it's getting to meet people, whether it's on the ground at events or virtually through a podcast like this. It's just the connections that you make. And I think that's one thing I'm really excited for about the National is to finally be back in person and get to meet so many people that I've either talked to via email or online this past year, or just meet people who will be at the show, who will have the opportunity to meet, who will swing by the Topps booth. So I'm really looking forward to that, especially.
Yeah, the stories, the tagline of the show, not to self-promote, but is the hobby is the people. And I think you sort of illustrated that in your answer right there. The stories behind the cards, who was with you when you pulled that big hit or when you got that box or you bought that card. It's all those stories of people you meet, like you said, at the National and hearing, how they got into cards, how it all really started for them. I think, we don't put in, sometimes we forget and don't put enough value on all those, not behind the music, but behind the cards stories.
Yeah, I love that. The hobby is the people. It really is what it is. It's such an appropriate tagline. I think too, I personally, I still collect with my dad. We'll sit down and rip open packs together. And it's just it's a bond that I don't think you can really understand unless you do that with someone or with various people, whether it's part of, being part of a breakers community or your local hobby shop. No matter what it is, it's just, it's the people that make up the experience. And I think even Topps too, just over the past few years, we've really tried to shift the focus into our experiential events and into more than just, collecting cards, but what you're getting outside of the pack, that full Topps experience. And, the Nationals part of that, MLB All-Stars part of that, our promotions like 70th anniversary party and celebration of the decades, those are all part of the emphasis on the experience transcendent. I mean, all of our various events. So I think it's cool to see the way that has really shaped what Topps does over the past couple of years.
Yeah, and they're the original. I mean, other than some of the pre-war stuff, I mean, it's just they're synonymous with baseball cards. I opened my first pack as a 7-year-old. I'm old. It was 1979, and my grandfather in the corner store in Brooklyn, by the way, home birthplace of Topps. And
there you go.
The rest is history. Here we're in 2021, and it's those things, those moments that. I can't remember what I had for dinner 2 nights ago, but I can remember, 41 years ago, Emily, with my grandfather and that box of cards on the counter and him asking me, hey, would you like a couple packs? And obviously, as a 7-year-old, you say, sure would. And here we are all these years later. So I got to ask you just, if there is a complaint this year, and it's and in Topps' defense, it's not just Topps. I think across the board, we've seen some customer service issues. You kind of touched on it a little bit in the toughest part of what you do, sort of question. Why do you think that is, and what are ways that you maybe I don't know what you can or cannot talk about, but is there improvements maybe coming down the line for someone who's frustrated? Hey, things will get better, that sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. It's something we're very aware of, and it's something that we want to make right by our collectors because that's what they deserve. I think it was a real staffing issue this past year. Of course, due to COVID and some of the challenges we faced there, that was also put an influx of customer service inquiries, and also the amount of people that flocked to the hobby too was so kind of quick and sudden in a way that I think it was just more than our small team could handle. But, looking to the future, definitely adding staff in any way, shape, or form that's happening behind the scenes. I know that's something that's been ongoing for the past couple of months. So slowly trying to get our way back there. And then, as I alluded to before, I mean, I personally think that, we could move into a space given the appropriate staff and resources and ability to do so where, our social presence also includes a customer service component. But, unfortunately not there yet, but I would say that there's definitely a brighter future ahead, and Topps is doing what they can and, certainly recognizes the problem that people have been facing this year.
I can only speak for myself too. I had two minor issues with some product, and I reached out, and they were both handled pretty promptly. I was pleasantly surprised. I can only speak for myself as someone who goes on the Topps site probably almost every day, if not every day. I want, there's now a chat component where someone can maybe type in an issue or concern and maybe get a solution too. So, like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day, and again, pandemic, staffing issues, and you make a great point. People, I don't think always take this into consideration, Emily. There's been a mass influx of a lot of new hobbyists as well, and so everything has went up exponentially with that influx, and that's a great thing. With more people, and I'm not complaining about it, but I'm just saying some other things sort of suffer as a result of that.
Yeah, listen, it's all growing pains, right? Topps hasn't been perfect for 70 years running. Topps has made mistakes for 70 years, and you learn from them and grow from them and understand what you can do differently, what you can do better. Like I keep alluding to, it's always about being bigger and better year over year. So, it's unfortunate because I think from my perspective, I see it every day on social, and going back to the toughest part of my job, it's tough that I can't help everyone in the way that I think that we should, or the way that I envision the Topps channels being able to. But, it's just the reality from my perspective. And I think that hopefully that is something that the organization will move towards, however slowly that happens.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you say, patience is important. Everyone wants stuff yesterday too, so it's a double-sided coin.
Yeah, we live in a world of instant gratification, instant satisfaction, and but that's who we are as a society, and that's okay too. I think that's the fun part about ripping packs of cards, because it's whatever comes out of that pack next. You're just like, oh man, this is it. And I think cards is no different from that.
Another quick break to hear from Iron Sports Cards, but we'll be right back after that.
Iron Sports Cards is your number one source for all your PSA and other grading submissions. Their elite status improves turnaround times. Heck, they even provide the card savers. Their chat rooms provide updates on all your submissions. They also offer wax options and single cards to cover all the bases. Check them out on Facebook at Iron Sports Cards Group, or on the web at ironsportscards.com, or even give them a call at 1-877-IRON-PSA. Rob's got you covered.
We return to our conversation with Emily Kless from Topps. So I gotta, hats off to Topps. You got the Topps truck now. Very cool. I haven't seen it in person. I've seen it in pictures and social media. Just a great concept, a great idea. Just kind of, I'm going to probably ask you more questions off that, but just give you a chance. Kind of, where did that come from, and how did it get born? And I mean, it's here now, but where did it all come from?
Yeah, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago. This is before my time in the role, but they had the pop-up truck for just like a one-day activation surrounding National Baseball Card Day. And they actually did it in Brooklyn, which is awesome, the birthplace of Topps. So I thought it was just super cool. And we had plans to bring it back and do it, bigger this past year, which of course COVID put a halt on, but we're back in 2021. So we wrapped it in 11,000 plus baseball cards, which is so crazy to think about. And we decided, let's launch it at MLB All-Star in each, every weekend, the Friday and Saturday of every weekend, it will stop in a new city. And the idea really is to just promote National Baseball Card Day and get people who maybe still aren't extremely familiar with Topps or are still the ones that saying, hey, I remember Topps. I can't believe they're still around. Get those people rekindled and re-engage them in the hobby. So the really idea behind the truck is to promote National Baseball Card Day and try and grab some new consumers and just continue spreading the name of Topps. We'll be in a different weekend city each weekend, handing out free packs of cards. You will have also just different activations on site, which are fun. We've got this life-size card frame that you can stand inside and take a photo so you can become your own baseball card right at the truck. We've got our mobile card wall, which is one of my favorite things. Having the card wall at all of our events is just so neat. So it's kind of cool to think that, as the truck makes its way from Denver to Chicago, that you have these people trading with the next stop, essentially, which I just think is a cool thing. And lots of other fun goodies. So this upcoming weekend, we're going to be in Cleveland, which will be at the Fox 8 news station in Cleveland on Friday. That's July 23rd. They have this great event called Stuff the Bus that encourages all of the local Cleveland folk to come out and bring donations of school supplies that then benefit students in need. And the Topps truck will actually be at Fox 8 news station all day as, the donations are being accepted as they're literally stuffing buses full of school supplies, donated school supplies. So it'll be nice to kind of interact with the local community that's already coming out to do something great for their community that day. So really looking forward to Cleveland. And then, of course, National Baseball Card Day is the big one. So I think we're probably going to bring that one home to the New York City area for National Baseball Card Day.
Yeah, I got to ask you. So this truck, it drives to the location that it's headed to, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, we have a whole
right.
team that heads up the truck, not Topps employees, but this great group of folks that have put this whole truck together for us. They've been excellent to work with. It's got this awesome Topps, I don't even know what to call it. It's like the logo, but it's on the grill of the truck. It's like something out of like Pimp My Ride. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I love the way the truck looks. I got to see it when I was out in Denver and take a little tour inside of it. And it was just like the coolest thing. So it's funny with these types of activations because you work on it for so long and you see the renderings and the behind the scenes. But then once you get to be on site, in person with the truck, it's just like, wow, this actually is really, really cool. Like we did this, we made this happen, and now it's traveling 7,000 miles, handing out baseball cards. So I will not personally be driving the truck. I don't think Topps has the insurance for that one. But I will be with it at a few stops that line up with my schedule that I'm able to travel to.
Yeah, probably a couple competing companies, maybe kicking themselves like, why didn't we think of a truck? But I got to ask you, you said 11,000 cards on the outside. How are they protected from the elements?
They put this sort of like glossy coat over all of the cards, so that way they're all fastened to the truck. A lot of previous like base cards, like 2020 base cards, 2019, but it's cool because there is such a mix of cards on there that you could just stand at the truck all day and like look through every single card that's on it and find something new and different each time you look. So it looks super cool. I know that a popular question is, will it be at the National? It's not going to be at the National that weekend. We would have loved to have it there, but I think from our marketing standpoint and the communication standpoint, to be able to have Topps' presence in Chicago while the truck still has a presence in another city that weekend, that's the most effective use for how we envision the truck promoting National Baseball Card Day and bringing awareness to it. But it's been lots of good feedback from it so far, so I'm excited to see the rest of its journey.
Yeah, I just have a vision in my mind of people trying to take the cards off the truck.
They can come right up to the window. We'll give them a free pack. Even
There you
better.
go.
Even better.
There you go. Don't peel the cards off. We got some for you right here. Good segue. You mentioned the National. Where when this airs, we're going to be literally 3 days away. Looking forward to it. I'm sure you are as well. Kind of speak to some of the events and things. You've been. This kind of goofy question. I'm assuming you've been. This is not your first National, right? You've been.
Yeah,
before.
this is not my first National, but it is my first National with tops. So
Okay.
I get to see a different side of it this time.
Yeah.
So I still feel a little bit like a rookie, which I'm excited about because it's almost like first day jitters. But yeah, I mean, our events team just kicks butt. Total kudos and hats off to our events team and the whole marketing team, which I'm fortunate enough to be a part of at Tops. They just do such an incredible job with the booth, with the programming, all of the really unique stuff we have going on. And so, yeah, this year at the National, a lot of the same types of programming that you've seen in prior years we'll have back, such as rapper redemption and some signers at the booth and guest appearances. But we've got, a couple of Project 70 artists that I think will be stopping by, one of them being Ben Baller. So we're excited to, host him on, I believe it's going to be Thursday at the Nationals. So we're excited for that. And we'll also be having our box break on the main stage. I think that happens on Wednesday night for VIPs.
All right, we're going to take another quick break to hear from Moco, the sports card shop at Moco. Rex and his two boys doing big things. I'll see them at the National as well. So let's hear from them, and we'll be back with Emily right after that.
The Sports Card Shop is your small-town local card shop with a global reach. Located in New Buffalo, Michigan, the shop is one of the most accessible in the Midwest. In addition to being an authorized Panini direct dealer, the Sports Card Shop carries all major trading card brands, including Topps, Upper Deck, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and more. With all that new wax, 500,000 singles, and showcases full of graded cards, you're sure to find something great for your collection, whether you're just starting out or a seasoned collector. The Sports Card Shop is your one-stop shop. So call us, come see us, or visit us on the web and social media. Our phone number is 269-469-0140. Website is thesportscardshop@moco.com. The Sports Card Shop is part of the Moco Retail Group, connecting sports, the hobby, and people around the world.
Sports Card Nation is back with Topps' Emily Kless.
I think this year, what I'm excited about most about our booth is that in honor of our 70th anniversary, what we really tried to do was just, bring the history of Topps to life in the booth itself. In the panels, you see everything it's decorated with, what we have inside the booth, and just kind of bring that feel of the 70th anniversary. So one of the coolest parts is on the backside of the booth. There's, cards all the way back, dating back to the 50s and our first set in 51, all the way through each decade or era of Topps, and QR codes that you can scan the QR code and it brings you to a video on our YouTube page that tells you all about Topps in that specific decade. So I know it's like a tiny thing that anyone else would probably just walk by the booth and say, that's cool, and moving on. But for me to, I think, see that kind of stuff come to life over this past year and see the thought that has gone into it, into creating this booth and really making it interactive, making it sticky for people to want to come and check out, has been really cool to see. So we had, just a taste of it at MLB All-Star at Play Ball Park in Denver, but we're giving the National the whole thing.
Yeah, 70 years of history. You got to embrace that. I mean, to for any business, we can outside the hobby, just any industry, any business that can withstand 70 years and be successful and doing well. I mean, you got to embrace that and embrace your past. You wouldn't be. That's all of us, right? We wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for things that happened in the past. And I think that's 70 years of history is a long time, and there's nothing wrong. I think it's a beautiful thing to embrace and say, hey, here's where we started, here's where we went and here's where we are now, and illustrate that. Not everyone maybe knows that. It can be enlightening, and I think, like you said, being interactive. I mean, people love interactive stuff. They feel sort of part of the process involved in that, and probably I know I'll be for sure checking it out as well as many other people. I think the National this year, is going to be tremendous, especially off a year where we lost it. People think it's really 1 year absence. It's really two when you think about it, because the last one was also in Chicago in 2019. So it's been, in a sense, 2 years since we've had the National. I think a lot of people are ready, looking to sort of get back out there and seeing people in person. I mean, part of the National, you alluded it yourself, Emily, it's just meeting people that sort of the one event a year, right? The week long where you get to see people and meet people maybe for the first time or not the first time. And so I think the fact that we lost that last year in Atlantic City, I think we're going to see, the National itself has announced many of the packages have sold out. They only have single day passes. So it's going to be quite the event. It already is. I think it's going to be probably even more so this year with losing one to the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's just so excited to be back in person, right? And be back together, doing what we love to do, which is just enjoying the hobby. And I think, it's cool. Like I said, it's just cool to see the booth come together from my perspective, and think of the ways that watch the team think of the ways that we can improve it year over year. I think this year we're going to have some case breakers come join us and do some breaks right at the Tops booth, where hopefully some participants there live can maybe even win a spot in the break. We're just trying to think of different ways of how we can improve the experience for our collectors at the National. And, we feel some sense of responsibility while the National organizers put on an amazing show. I think Tops too also feels like, hey, we have to do this for our people. We have to show up for our people, for our collectors, our consumers, and we have to give them the best experience possible. And so we're definitely striving for that this year. It's going to be fun. I've had 2 years. I came into this role probably the end of 2019, I want to say, and 4 short months later, that was it with the pandemic. So I've been emailing so many people and seeing so many people virtually on podcasts and FaceTime and what have you, and Zoom and Teams and Skype and all of those other crazy platforms we've all had to learn this year. But so it'll just be really nice to be able to chat with people in person.
Yeah, and like you said, even though it's not your first, it's your first in the position that you hold now. So it's sort of kind of like you said, a different perspective, a different angle that you get to see it from a different lens, and that'll be exciting on a personal level for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think what I'm most excited about too, which I know I spoke to earlier, is just being able to bring the event to life for also people who may not be able to be there, because while there is going to be a large amount of people there, and I'm excited to meet everyone on the ground at the booth, there's also a lot of people that can't make it for various reasons. And I think the top social team and our content team, we feel that our responsibility is to still be able to bring the event to life for people who can't necessarily be there or may only be there for one day, or, no matter what it is. So I'm looking forward to just taking a ton of pictures and videos and getting to blast it out there and show everyone, the good time that's being had at the Tops booth.
Yeah, and then after the National, like you said, you got National Baseball Card Day. And I got to ask you, as fun as it is, it's also a grind too. A lot of travel and promotional stuff. Like you get some vacation time or decompress time. How does that work?
I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, it's all good, John. I mean, I'm not here to complain, because I do love what I do. And I just, the experience of being oftentimes in person, that's the most rewarding part of all, right? It's when I don't get to travel. It's when I'm not at the events that it feels like more of a grind. And then once you're there, you're just like awakened with this renewed energy, this new sense of, hey, this is why we do this. This is why we put in the long hours. This is why we're traveling from Denver and Play Ball Park, tearing down the booth, setting it back up at the National while holding transcendent events in between and every other event that comes thereafter, while also still planning for National Baseball Card Day and making sure products like Ginter get their, time in the spotlight. So there's just, a lot that goes into it that I think behind the scenes, like I said, marketing team at Topps, all the teams at Topps that I get to work with, are just such good people and really enjoy what they do and like being part of the hobby, which I think is just a really cool and unique kind of thing. But specifically the marketing team, they just work their butts off, and it's really cool to watch from my perspective because they put in a ton of work, and then I get to be on the ground watching it all come to life and helping bring it all to life, at least from the social perspective and the comms perspective. So, it's all good stuff. I'm excited. I'm also admittedly excited that National Baseball Card Day and the truck will be in the NYC metro area because that's close to home for me. But other than that, no, I'm happy to travel away because it's a really cool hobby that, and community that we're a part of.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, being we lost it last year, I think it's going to be, they're always great, but I think they'll be a little bit extra special. We kind of, it's the old, you don't appreciate, sometimes you don't appreciate something till it's gone. And it was kind of gone for, in a sense, 2 years. And I think people are chomping at the bit to, get to Chicago and enjoy the festivities. I'm looking forward to meeting you there as well and maybe talking with you a little bit more, and obviously enjoy the National. And I appreciate you making time. I know you're real busy, Emily, and I know the listeners feel the same way. I want to give you sort of the last word here, give out any website info, promotional stuff, anything you take your time, anything you want to promote or highlight. The floor is yours, as I always say.
Yeah, thanks, John. No, the feeling's mutual to you and even anyone who's listening. Like, please come find me at the Topps booth. Please say hello. I mean it when I say I love meeting people and hearing everyone's stories. It just, makes what we do so worth it and so worthwhile. And it brings a great feeling. But follow us at Topps on social, first and foremost, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, our newfound YouTube presence, which we're trying to build up. So give us a subscribe there. But, anything Topps.com you could go to for all the latest cards. Project 70's on there, some great stuff from Project 70 and the artists. And National Baseball Card Day, Saturday, August 7th. We're going to have info about the hobby shops that are participating. Come to our website, Topps.com/National Baseball Card Day. So you can head there for any info, but make sure you're posting your polls with the hashtag ToppsNBCD that day so we can all share what we've got on National Baseball Card Day. But thank you again, John. Really appreciate it. And thanks for having me on. I'm so looking forward to the Nationals. So this is a great start to what will be a good National weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the only problem it goes too quick. It seems like it's like a blur. It's like it's over.
You blink and it's over. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks, Emily, for making time for the show, and I'll see you in a week.
Can't wait, John.
Pastime Marketplace has a line of graded card cases that are waterproof, airtight, dust-tight, and hardened to protect and organize your valuable collection. Each of our cases come with pre-cut and pre-formed foam, so you don't have to cut and tear the foam when you get your case. The pre-cut foam inserts are sized to hold PSA, Beckett, SGC, and CGS slabs. Store it all safely and securely with a case from Pastime Marketplace. Check them out at www.pastimemarketplace.com.
All right, that's going to bring episode 137 to a close. First off, I want to thank my wonderful guest, Emily Kless from Topps. Some great insight, learned a little bit about more about her personally, and thanks for coming on. She's very busy as they ramp up, as she said, for the National. Want to thank you out there who've made this show way past whatever I imagined it could be, and as we roll into the National, that's just so apparent to me. Speaking of National, I look forward to meeting many of you. If you see me, I'll probably be wearing something that says Sports Card Nation on it to some level of degree, whether it be a little patch or in my backpack. If you see me, more than welcome. Come up, shake a hand. I love to conversate about life, about the hobby, and just meet everybody in the hobby. The hobby is the people, right? So I love talking to those people. Again, reminder, from 4 to 4:30 on Thursday the 29th. That's local time Chicago. Myself and Brody Kidd on the main stage, talking some hobby shop, if you will, and we'd love to see you, in front of the stage, and try to keep that interactive, and even talk to you guys out there that are watching that conversation. It's going to be more of a conversation than an interview. I know Brody real well, and we're gonna talk like no one else is around. So, but we know that's not the case. But hope to see many of your faces, not just during that time, but just during the show. It's going to be a great event, and I'm looking forward to a countdown each day here as we get closer to it. So with that being said, a reminder, next show will actually be a show that I did with the guys from Pack to the Future, Chad, Tim, and Ricky, and Dr. Beckett. We did a live Sports Card Nation on a Saturday there for Hobby Palooza, and so I'm going to run that, even though we did it live and it's on YouTube. I'm going to be in Chicago, obviously. It's going to be very hard to do a show like we typically do, so I'm going to run that as episode 138 next week while we're at the National. So we'll see you in a week, and I hope to see some of you, not just me talking to you through the airwaves here, but some of you in person as well. So we'll see you soon. Remember, the hobby is the people.